Let me get one thing pulled up here real quick. Oh, they're already getting loaded up in their game. Okay.
Yep. So we are live.
All
Okay.
right, here we go. I mean, we'll post it in the chat momentarily. How about you?
I'm doing it
We'll
now.
start our announcing when you post it. Well, yeah, you just post in the chat. You're good. You post your stream in there, and then we'll kind of kick things off that way. I'll wait for the notification.
Tried to let them know to
Yep.
give me a sec.
All right, here we go. The season 3 Super Bowl underway. We are trying to have the Saints Dolphins pause things momentarily. Looks like they are underway. Hopefully, you guys tuning in. Excited to have a good matchup. Got the prop bets already set as well, too. Ron's gonna be following along for that. And I want to thank you guys again as a league for getting along with this here. As with the pause after the kickoff. The TBA season 3 Super Bowl is underway. Thank you all for joining us, and hopefully you're watching Ron's stream. That'll be the official one here as Eugene Binlip and myself. Oh, wait, that's a two different person. Eugene Binlip and Ron are going to be announcing this one, and looking forward to this contest overall. So again, we have the prop bet set. We'll be advancing to the off season right afterwards. We have a schedule already somewhat set, but this is a reminder as we have the things paused right now. Make sure you check if your players have regressed, if they need their abilities retuned in some facet. Let me, Ron, Juice, not Jarrett. He's drunk as he always is every weekend. We'll get that all set for you. And there will be regression that happens potentially the following advance as well too. So just make sure you're checking that. But I'm excited for this one, Ron. It's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, really excited. You can say that this is somewhat of a David versus Goliath, but Saints is just playing out of his mind all playoffs, and I think it's going to be a good one. Dolphins has struggled against Josh Allen in the past, so I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and I guess I didn't really follow along. What is the record for the Dolphins against Josh Allen?
I believe for this cycle, dating back to Allen being on the Chargers, he's 0-3. I think that's 2 regular season playoff losses and 1 playoff loss in total. So,
That was the time when Josh only cared about Marvel Rivals. Though now we're different. We have Mutt Josh here entering the Super Bowl, sitting at 16-1. I mean, I talked about it in the prop bet part. I really strongly believe that Josh Allen is one of, if not the best quarterbacks in TBA. The creative guys have a little bit of different traits and characteristics. Lamar Jackson's played a lot better than maybe the attributes would suggest to. And I think there's a catalyst as to why the Saints have been there. But reminder, his offense is really good and have been really good even prior to this. So we see Josh immediately start out with an RPO, not shocking relative to a few other plays and games that he's had recent memory, but a great already command for that with the cover 6 and 2nd and 10 right off the rip for the Saints.
Joe, I got to ask, who do you got for the game? Who's coming
Well,
out on top?
I waited to the very last second, because I didn't want people to copy me and theoretically get way more points if I get a bunch of points to the props. But I do think the Dolphins win this one. I think they win convincingly. That would have been my opinion before this, certainly as we watched the ability fiasco as well, too, over the past 2 hours. I have a lot of faith that you're going to see a very prepared Saints team, and it's why I ended up going more on the 2.5 route as opposed to 3. Justin Fields rolls to the right,
Oh,
intercepted. What a great play. The contain ends up working, forces Fields to make a mistake, and you already have a team that was throughout the entire playoffs on the AFC side of things really good about manufacturing, driving down the field, making smart decisions. An interception on the second play of the game. Saints are at the 41-yard line. Their chance to get the first points to the board.
yeah, not the best throw by Josh we've seen in the past, but I think the contain got to him a little bit. But let's see what his really good defense does here with Saints on his side.
I love the start there. What a great play call. You have the motion Brian Thomas over. You have to adjust that from a defensive perspective. But it is a key that you're in zone initially, ends up being back to man. The crosser is open, and
Oh,
then it's
wow.
not. That's a pick, and that could go not enough sticky reasons to make it all the way. But great counter, Justin. Joey Amaya, the defensive end, who we have a sack prop on, was thrown in coverage there. Great scouting report because that was the route that beat Juice to end up getting that 4th down conversion. A great adjustment, and you have back-to-back picks. Dolphins the ball once again, and it's just a reset run. Here we go with 6:43 left in the first quarter.
Yeah, there is that prop bet for the game of total interceptions being
Good
3,
point. Yeah.
and we are already at 2, less than 5 games in, or 5 plays
Oh,
in.
yeah, less than 5 plays, and that's crazy. All right, so we have a deep pass option here. One of the very focal or staple parts of that offense was not available, so a wise decision to throw it out of bounds here, 2nd and 10. second drive. The Dolphins have been 2nd and 10 on their very first start of that drive. I like the idea that contains seem to be working. I mean, if you're stepping up with Fields, maybe that's a difference. But right now, Saints defense, loving what we're seeing. And I think very well scouted from both sides, again, with the Maya interception as well, too. This is exactly what I want from our TBA Season 3 Super Bowl. All right, and we're going to get the second down pass here. Fields again drifting back to his right, again contain on there, and again a throwaway. You have to imagine if you could just stay in the pocket, maybe things would be deep. But a double bracket defense, not one that we see all that often within TBA games, certainly not in the postseason as well. But I think it's the right call if you're trying
All right, and
to,
we're going
if
to
you're
get
going against something that
the
wants to be
second.
aggressive. I mean, that's a great option there. And again, now 3rd and 10, potentially in a spot where the Dolphins may have to punt. So the first 2 possessions with how high flying that offense has been, really weird outcome here. But again, 3rd and 10 right now, 6:32 in the first quarter. Justin Fields 0 for 3 at the moment. I guess actually 0 for 4 at that RPO. The speed out is there. That is a first down, 12 yards. The zone adjustments don't quite help you in that spot. And Dolphins extend despite 2 incompletions to start that one and have a first down on the board for the first time this game.
Yeah, the zones are just so exposed this year, and I gotta imagine we're not gonna see anybody run zone more than one time in a row.
Mm. Yeah, maybe not. Kyle Pitts with a nice little 15-yard catch and then runs an extra 10 yards. Kind of weird tackling on that with the cross wheel formation. You talk about not seeing zones ran more than twice in a sequence. Well, there was back-to-back zones and back-to-back first downs for the Dolphins. Now inside the 25-yard line of the Saints, again, second possession, an interception on the first drive for the Dolphins was countered directly after with an interception by defensive end Joey Amaya. And you have the speed out to the right with that RPO. That ends up being a nice little 4 yards. Safe call. The return RPO, one of the more popular plays that we've seen, especially in the AFC side of things with the runners, that the Jahmyr Gibbs of the world can really be explosive with that kind of play, and ends up being the RPO to the right side with that man defense. Now you have 5 wide set. Typically, this has been the RPO to the right for Josh. We'll have to see if that's the case. It is, and that could be a touchdown. Very easy play. Waltzing into the end zone. Is that Alec Pierce? I guess I thought there was
Yeah.
a Alec Pierce, so not Jaden Reed for that kind of role, unfortunately, for our prop bets. But Alec Pierce get a very easy RPO touchdown. The RPO alert QB draw, if you guys have not been following, one of the more hard plays to stop because the audibles are also really tricky out of that formation, and one that has been lapped up certainly by the Dolphins, who are now up 7-0 in this contest.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the play, Joe. I mean, he's pretty much walked in. I'm not that excited though because he is not anywhere on any prop bet that was given out. So maybe
Who
a little
set those prop
selfish
bets?
there, but
Vegas
yeah,
had no
Alec
idea the
Pierce. Nobody wants to
RPO.
see an
Yeah.
Alec Pierce touchdown. I'll tell you that right now.
We'll have to see if that ends up being a similar statement echoed next Sunday in real life with the Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl. I'm sure there's going to be some offensive lineman that catches a touchdown. We're all going to be angry that they weren't on the prop sheet, but that's for real life football. In one more week, we have, well, it's fake enough, but video game football right in front of us right now, 5:25 in the first quarter. This is the Saints' second possession. Again, very first play. It was meant to be a run, audibles to the pass with that motion, and played right into the hands of Dolphins, who has Joey Mine in a great spot. We'll see if this drive is any different. I love this formation in terms of uniqueness relative to TBA. Looks like an inside blitz definitely stops it, and that post is there, except it gets bumped for another interception. Antonio Winfield now taking back 25, 30 yards. We make it 35, 40 yards on that return at the 36-yard line. Dolphins now set up in position on their third possession to be up potentially 2 scores with even if they don't move the ball at all in that spot. Tough play, 2 passes, 2 picks for the Saints.
Yeah, well, for the people that took the interceptions for the total, that hit first quarter. So we are good on that if you did take the 3+ interceptions. But other
Was
than
that
that,
part of the prop bet one or no?
that looks like that was a straight bet only.
Wow,
So,
great throw. The crossing route underneath about 15
oh,
yards was wide open on the PA boot leak. Josh, seeing the cover 2 defense, goes deep on that one instead, takes the extra 10, 15 yards now at the 3-yard line. One of the differences between elite's play and winning a handful of games is what you do in the red zone. I can attest to that, as I am not very good in the red zone and have not done very well in now about 3 months. We'll have to see what Josh's offense does. That deuce offense, or that deuce single back spot there, always really good from a running perspective. Now going back to the shotgun empty. Typically, this is either the RPO or the quarterback run. We'll have to see if that's the case. And again, good luck countering this. I imagine after today, everyone will be running it as well. And there you go, RPO open and stopped for a negative 2-yard loss there. So 3rd and 5. That completion was great on that PA boot, but unfortunately put you out of bounds. If you threw it underneath, Ron, maybe could have ran another 15, 20 yards, used the blocks and scored a touchdown. It's a tough decision to make on the fly as you're rolling out to the right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a stroke if he throws it to Alec Pierce again, Joe. I can't handle it,
Wait,
and
who are we looking for? What do we need
um,
the touchdown to be?
I think I need the Leo Carrington. I believe he's part of that two total or not total touchdowns, but needing two touchdowns. I mean, he threw it to Leo and stepped out of the three there on that rollout you just spoke of. And I need a Leo touchdown here. Last but I fully expected him to QB run with Fields. That's been his bread and butter, but he didn't.
On the Fields run to the right side ends up being a
Oh,
red dot throw. That's incomplete. That's fourth down. You take your points after you had two picks on two plays from
yeah,
the Saints part of
definitely
things,
take
but
the points.
frustrating for sure because you had probably a potential touchdown if you take the shorter throw instead and weave your way in there. I think every football play would say make that deeper throw. You know it's wide open, and of course the Madden physics say no, 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 just go to bounds, go to bounds. And what could have been 7 points of 14-0 advantage to start the Super Bowl and again Saints get the ball to start the second half ends up being 10-0. You want to see a bit better offense, of course, after two plays, two picks for the Saints. A good kick return helps things, gets to the 32, 33, 32-yard line. Saints' third possession of the game upcoming right here. Ron, if you had thrown two picks in two plays, what would be your counter for the next drive here?
I would just keep doing what got you here. And I say that in the sense of, you got to look at him giving up a field goal to Josh and that after that second interception is almost like a win. You're only down ten
Yeah.
zero. You got plenty of time left in this game. Just do what got you here and, start dumping it short, start running the ball with Allen maybe a little bit and just take your time. I mean, the game is not over.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've never once thrown two interceptions in two plays. I have, and if I haven't crashed out at this point, it would typically be let's try to be a little bit more methodical, like you're describing there. And you would imagine the run on first down would be the right call. Well, that gets stuffed immediately, despite the IDing of that inside tackle. Now 2nd and 10. This is the hard part. Like we can talk about the Dolphins' offense being RPO merchants, however you want to. I don't really agree with that statement, but my goodness, the defense is really tough to solve from a man perspective. And now you can't get anything going on the ground here, too. Here we see the Saints trying to set up an RPO. The outside is there. That could lead to the first down. And great play by Saban, who's been quietly been an underrated receiver for the Saints. Of course, they have that Brian Thomas Jr., who I think is probably on pace to be a Hall of Fame receiver in TBA for next cycle. We haven't really quite announced that stuff yet, but I think back-to-back 1,800-yard seasons, back-to-back Pro Bowl years. Saints, Brian Thomas Jr., one of the better receivers in all of TBA, but Saban, nice little route there, gets that first down and a little bit of a wiggle to get to the 44-yard line.
Yeah, Saban's cool, but he is the Saints version of Alec Pierce for the Dolphins, and we don't want to see him catch the ball. You know, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, it looks like a nice opportunity for a deeper throw that takes the check to Devin Culp, been a big factor within the Saints offense, gets that first down, ends up moving about, I think it ended up being 18 yards down at the 30-yard line, crossing the Dolphin side of the field. I think Devin Culp has been. I talked about this in the breakdown. I'm not sure if you felt the same way watching tape on the Saints here. Has been one of the reasons. Josh Allen obviously been one of the key part of why the Saints resurgence has happened this season. But Devin Culp being as good as Matthews has been, that All-Pro tight end trade to the Colts in that Culp deal, major factor as to why the Saints have been as good offensively as they've been now for the past 8 weeks.
Yeah, Culp's been key. You got to imagine being in the Super Bowl before, like you mentioned. That helps, and I mean, the production didn't fall off the tight end, that's for sure.
I don't think that quite ended up being a 15-yard reception, a check down to Matt Gore. Great play call on that. It was a 24-yard line. I think that was the 38. That was a 14-yard reception,
Hmm.
unfortunately, for Matt Gore. But great play, great use, especially with the man coverage, which you're expecting from this Dolphins defense. Love that concept. Now you have the Saints within striking distance here, having two interceptions in the first two drives. Trickling down the field, 2nd and 9, another completion to Matt Gore. This is the methodical offense I was expecting of the Saints. And I think you kind of get caught off guard with how strong the man defense can be, but there are ways to combat that, and especially if you're not moving around on the pocket and making things worse for yourself, the pass rush. So 2nd and 9 right now, but loving how the Saints have been able to move down the field here.
Definitely. Even if the stuff isn't working, for big yardage, take the one, take the two, keep the defense honest. Like I said, stick to what got you here. And eventually, I think that he's going to start seeing some stuff open downfield.
Yeah, you have the check down open to the right, tight end cross there too. Instead, the receiver from the left to right, which is
Wow.
often a popularized part of that return route, was wide open. Unlucky Madden animation there. Defense lineman pops his hand up. Not too dissimilar from real life football, but there you go. And that's instead what would have been probably at the 11-yard line, if not a little bit closer, is a 3rd and 9, and puts you in a really, really tough spot because theoretically you'd love to get at least some points on the board. But how the Dolphins offense has typically moved this season, it might be 4th down territory if you can't get this. Really unfortunate timing with that bat down by the defensive lineman. Motion receiver to the left. We've seen this before. Often as a check down to the tight end. Not there. And Josh Allen in trouble. Great comeback on that throw. That's a user adjustment to bring that
It's a
receiver
great,
down.
great user.
Ends up bringing that receiver into the catch point. Possession catch there, and a 1st and 8 on a 3rd and 10. Excellent, excellent play by the Saints, who are now in 1st-and-goal territory. Let's see here what happens on the adjustment from the Saints side of things. We saw the Dolphins in this similar spot have a run on 1st down. Didn't end up working. Certainly seems from a player perspective. We'll have the same thing. And similarly, well, Madden says, no, you get to have 3 yards just because 4 guys push you forward. 2nd and 5, 2nd and goal right now. Matt Gore already banged up with the few touches that he has had. I don't know how much that's really impacted you, Ron, when you've been playing. I get a little bit nervous just from a little bit of college football side of things, but I don't think it's been a big impact seeing those guys at the yellow when you've been using them too often, right?
No, being somebody that also plays college and having your running back get hurt every single play, it's nowhere near what it is like in Madden. You can kind of keep throwing guys out there and let them ride. I mean, especially in this big game, you got to let your best guys ride and just, you can't be sitting guys in the Super Bowl, over a hurt stomach or whatever it may be.
You can ride your best guys all you want to, Ron. I want to see points in the field. We'll have to see if that happens in the second quarter as the first quarter expires here. Again, 2nd and goal right now. You saw Saints before looking to see if there's any inside stuffs to worry about, any outside, no outsiders as well. I guess I don't know the abilities as well, but I do know how the Dolphins sets up his defense. May as well be in inside stuff, and I'm a little bit nervous to try to run the ball here on 2nd and goal with points being so important. But I love the adjustments thus far. The stretch goes to the right side. Matt Gore bounces out, comes back in, and still ends up losing a yard. Really great defensive adjustments, despite everything that the Saints was throwing eye candy wise. Now 3rd and 6. Again, a very, very critical possession here from a points perspective for the Saints offense.
I think the best thing Saints can do here, and I think it's just been a weapon all cycle, especially with Josh Allen, is you should have about 2 looks here, and if those 2 looks aren't there, you need to run it in.
Step up. hmm
You know, I
I love this combo with the double. We have the drag, you have the speed out, and then you have the return route coming on that side. Normally, if you call this formation, people are very aware now at this point of the cycle of that return route, but you kind of have to pick and choose. What do you want to cover? It doesn't really matter. The inside route got wide open for Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Burns says, hello, we'll take one of those sacks. And instead, what could have been I
boom.
think, a 4th down decision will not be. And that becomes a field goal likely for the Saints after the Brian Burns sack. That is 1 on the board if you're tracking along with that prop bet as well, too.
Yes, sir. We need one more of those. And personally, being someone that did take that, I look forward to that. I seen the Saints run this play that he ran when he got sacked there on 3rd down as
Yeah.
he knocks that in for 3. He was waiting for Brian Thomas to come over
Mm,
back over the middle, and I think he had him, but Brian
it was
Burns
open.
right in his face. I think just a half second before that. So good play on
I didn't see if
defense.
there was a defensive engage at all with that, or if that was simply contained. You watch Josh Allen kind of shift a little bit to the left. Not enough, you would think, to trigger any contains from happening, but maybe that was what sprung him open on that sack and that animation to get. Yeah, you're right, wide open. If you look back in the review there for Brian Thomas Jr., I think Saints saw it as well too. Just didn't have enough time with Brian Burns screaming off the edge. So Dolphins with a chance to get a 2-score lead once again with their drive. That ball booted out of the end zone, not sitting at the 35-yard line. This is the Dolphins. I think what now, 3rd? No, it'll be the 4th possession after the 2 interceptions. We've had a few near opportunities for Matt Gore, right? He had the 14-yard reception on the previous drive. We had Alec Pierce score a touchdown. If you're rooting for Dolphins players to do things offensively, it hasn't quite worked that way. Fields hasn't been a big runner either. In fact, the contains have been a really problematic area as well. So unfortunate if we're hoping on that one. We'll have to see what this offense looks like for the Dolphins in the second half. But We'll begin the possession again. First and 10, 5:54 left in the second quarter. Fields rolls to the right. That is open this time. He could run instead. Has the playmaker to the running back, and that's going to be, I'm sorry, Kyle Pitts ends up getting down. Boy, that ends up being a 50-yard. No. It wasn't quite 15, 33-yard reception. I,
Beautiful, Joe.
I think that's it, right? That's what we needed,
That's
right?
that's
Over
the
30 on a
that's
tight
the
end.
30 plus. And going back to especially a parlay bet that has hit, and I don't think anyone hit this, is the 2+ made field goals in a game. We've hit that already.
Oh, good point. Yes, that's a good call as well. So Pitts with a 33-yard reception. You have a run. I think the inside was there for a few more yards, trying to get a little bit selfish, bounced outside, or a little bit aggressive, I should say. That ends up not working. You're going to see, unfortunately, a fault that I have very often, Ron. I'm not sure if you have the same way. You have all the adjustments set for the red zone. You have a long offensive possession. You score points. You forget that those adjustments are still there. You wonder if that set on zero was the reason Kyle Pitts got as wide open as he did on that field scramble. A frustrating thing. If you look back on this, I know I've done this many times as well too. But 2nd and 9 right now, there is chance to salvage this possession if you're the Saints and hold them to hopefully a field goal. The tight end wheel is open. Fields once again being flushed out of the pocket with the contain there. 3rd and 9 throwaway. It feels like Josh could just be looking shorter, right? Because if we were having just a few shorter passes, we're in a good spot, but everything seems to be going deep, and it's why these 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10s become a problematic spot for this offense repeatedly for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they call him over the top Josh for a reason. Even at the 31, we're here and this guy's going big down the seams. But that's just not his play style. We've seen many times where he has a lead and he could run it and milk the clock, and he's going to keep firing on you. It's just
I
what
thought it
makes
was
him
over the
work.
top for his love for anime women, but instead this ends up being a 6-yard completion to Jaden Reed, 4th and 3, setting up a good spot to be in a 4th down conversion if you want to. We'll have to see if that's the choice. And once again, the staple at 5, wide receiver tight formation being called by the Dolphins. Again, you think RPO, you think quarterback blast, and unfortunately, when you have both of those prepare, that's where you throw that vertical on that seam spot on the right side. Very curious to see what the Saints choose to do. Do you bring pressure? Do you make this decision hard? Was not hard for Josh to call on a 4th and 3. We'll see if he ends up in the conversion here after getting that 6-yard completion to Jaden Reed. Looks like the underneath route is there, the corner route, and then both inside routes were there. Pick which one you want. Leo Carrington gets the call, gets the 1st down, and you're at 1st and 10, 15-yard line. Dolphins, again, moving down the field in potential position to at least put 3 on the board. Thankfully, Juice is updating all the prop bets there for us again. We would imagine out of this formation, we're seeing another RPO. Either if this is me, it's going to be the tight end one and says the halfback direct snap, little speed boost for Yarbo, who
Hmm.
goes nowhere. 2nd and 11. If you're wondering, I actually have no idea how to trigger that, but I know what it looks like at least, and that's a very popular college football thing as well too. But the halfback direct snap completely shut down. Heavy blitz out of that. Maybe if you're Josh, you see that as the play caller or counter to that. There's an adjustment out of that formation. But I love the aggressiveness at least from Saints on 1st and 2nd down. I think he's made every right call. It's just how do you try to get enough pressure on Justin Fields on 3rd down and 4th down? It does not feel like it's making enough of a difference. And Kyle Pitts get a little sticky there on
Ooh.
the 13 yards down to the 2-yard line. And again, enter all the adjustments, see what we could do there. Will it matter when you have 4 plays to theoretically get 2 yards? I don't know at this point. Tough spot to be for the Saints. Good news, again, reminder that you'll have the Saints get the ball to start the second half, but also you'll have potential to go double up, right? You can go down and drive the field with 3 minutes left or so to score a touchdown. Maybe Josh will be slow paced. What he chooses to do here, you're seeing the motion kind of potentially affecting the zone. The RPO looks like it'll be wide open on the left side. Instead, the run up the middle gets shut down. Almost, Ron, looked like he ran into him deliberately. I'm bad enough with the stick where it would never be delivered. It's just I'm just bad. But I don't know if I could say that for Josh. So, do you think that was a deliberate run up the middle to kind of bleed more clock out here?
I mean, it'd be a smart way to do things. I mean, like you said right before that, the RPO was wide open. I fully expected that to happen, but maybe this is Josh's way of milking the clock a little bit. I mean, he can take this down to the 2-minute warning and maybe get another 30 seconds after that. If he doesn't,
Well, the clock didn't get milked there, at least in that regard. You had the
uh,
run, great user shoot by Isaiah Simmons, a longtime Madden staple. If we're just saying the totality of TBA, certainly in the Hall of Fame among important safeties, but not a guy that's been as influential within this offense. Unfortunately, you see the man defense right there. I wonder if Saints uses a timeout because this is not the great formation I would want if I see these 5 receivers there. Tough spot again on 3rd and goal. I think the Saints maybe I'm sorry, I think the Dolphins waits to call. I don't have to
Yeah.
know. Is it 2:05, 2:04? You kind of let the clock tick all the way down. Boy, that I think was a major benefit for the Saints. That could have been a very good offensive opportunity for the Dolphins on 3rd and 7 here. Has lost multiple yards on 2 runs, now sitting up at 3rd and 7 of critical nature here, as everyone is, but certainly 3rd and goal in particular. I mean, are you going back to a 5 wide set? I mean, that basically tells everyone that you're going to be passing other than the quarterback run.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's two options here. It's an RPO play or a quarterback run up the middle.
And the RPO play is there. Alec Pierce touchdown once again. Whoever set the props was moronic in that regard because Alec Pierce now has 2 touchdowns. Fields has 2 touchdown passes. And again, good news. Saints get the ball to start the second half and theoretically has a chance to move down the field and get another 7-2. So by no means out of this, but down 14 with 157 seconds. I'm sorry, 157 left in the second quarter.
Yeah. Congrats on the touchdown for Pierce again, but this is starting to feel deliberate. That someone might not want the guys that we put up there. I know I am not the only upset one about that last Pierce touchdown, but hey,
Do you think Josh changed his depth chart to not have Jaden
I
Reed in
think
that
some
spot?
funny
Or
things might be going on. A lot of ball game left, but I'm gonna call it like I see it as of now. So we'll see how it
well, if
goes.
that is the Super Bowl participants' prerogatives, where you can play the Super Bowl however you want to, Ron. You get the privilege of making it there. You can mess over as many people as you want to in the TBA league, if that is the case. But Saints here now with their theoretically final possession of this first half. Really good sequence this last drive before. I thought they manipulated the man defense really effectively. Josh Allen drops far too back, and
Oh,
boy, that could have been a very easy
I'll tell you what, I
walk-in
got the
pick
defensive
six.
touchdown. I would have taken it right there.
Oh, instead it ends up being a incompletion. I don't know if like you just couldn't quite click on if you're Josh from that perspective, or if you didn't think somebody would throw it there. I've had that many times as well too. But fortunate to not be 7 points the other direction. Wide open, you
Oh,
would think, and that ends up being in running backs seam intercepted, and there's your defense touchdown. One play later, I was going to say Malcolm Butler. I guess I'm not
let's
positive which
go.
Butler it is, but defensive touchdown. 4th interception for the Dolphins. I'm sorry, 4th interception of this game, 3rd for the Dolphins. I had said, Ron, that was going to be the Saints' final possession of the first half. I'm going to be wrong. He'll get the ball here, but not the way you'd want to have that 7 points be turned around here. Unfortunate now with the Dolphins likely up 24-3. Great defensive call. That was a really good sequence of the cover, too. And I think justifiable after the play before where it probably could have been pick six as well.
Yeah, ball doesn't lie, Joe. You know what they say, and I'll tell you what, my pocket's not gonna lie because that's the second highest paid out straight play for 8,500 if you took that. And myself, I take those every single year, and god damn it, it pays out.
Do you take the kick return touchdown, too? Because that's like never happened.
I did take that this year. I've never seen that one, I don't believe, but you know me. I mean, I love the high risk, high reward type of deal, and I did take that. So,
Okay. All
I'm
right.
I think one's gonna happen. I think one's gonna happen.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. Saints drops back here with Josh Allen, the underneath route wide open. Thankfully, the DB bit on Matt Gore for reasons that remain unclear. It wasn't really in the play, but that ends up being a first down, 121, and clock and ticking right now. Saints all 3 timeouts, get the ball to start the second half, but that pick 6 on the previous possession kind of changes this a little bit more. R1 got the animation to get open, still didn't end up shuffling by. The sack ends up happening, I believe, is that Brian
That's a Maya.
Burns?
That's a Maya.
That's a
So
Maya.
that's
All right,
another
there's an
that's
Amaya
another
pick.
prop that hits Amaya and Burns, excuse me, 2+ sacks combined. If you pick that one, you hit that one. So that's a 5,000 payout right there. That's huge.
There you go. Yeah, the Amaya sack, you had Brian Burns in the critical possession deep in the goal line opportunity, gets the sack as well, too. But in both instances, you saw Josh Allen drop back, which would engage the QB contain. That's why the sack's been happening right now, too. Not that I would ever say stand in the pocket, don't move, but again, drop back. Give time, but the pressure gets there. You had Brian Thomas Jr. open on that inside route. Would have probably been a first down. It's just the pass rush is getting there and being a prominent factor. 3rd and 23 at the 22-yard line. Maybe if it's another look like that, you'll see the Saints punt, and maybe the Dolphins have a chance to score again too. That'd be Not a great way for that first half to end up unfolding for the Saints. Play action does nothing to neutralize the sack. Both interior guys get in there right away. That was a pass commit, and that was a sack, 4th and 32, timeout by the Dolphins. Only one left, but with 47 seconds on the board, I think 3 points is almost a given with this mad cycle right now and the way the Dolphins have been moving the offense.
Yeah, I've never understood a play action on 3rd and plus 20, Joe. But
You don't
I
understand the game of Madden. Corey is yelling at you right now that that's supposed to stop the engages on those runs. Come on, Ron, be better.
yeah, yeah, I will. I'm not the biggest play action guy, but especially on 3rd and 20 plus, I don't know. It is what it is. Let's see how Josh manages this last 30 seconds. Like I said before, he's pretty aggressive. So this guy, I
Oh, it
don't think
looks like
it's
it's going to
running.
be just fine with Yarbo ripping down for about, it's going, I thought it was going to 25 yards. Instead, it ends
Oh,
up getting 42 yards on that run. 6 for 40. Again, he's had negative yards prior to that one, a 42-yard rip. And I imagine the Saints maybe had a pass coming on, but a great play call. Talking about how aggressive Dolphins is, you would maybe thought the scouting report was in on that too for the Saints. Does not end up working at all. And down at the 30-yard line, one timeout. I mean, this is as much time as you could possibly need to go 31-3 in the first half, the TBA Season 3 Super Bowl. The motion goes to the outside. Maybe if he bounced it to the right, I'm sorry, Isaiah Simmons gets the tackle, but you would have seen Carrington be able to bounce to the right and score that touchdown again. Maybe funny business, Josh. I'm sorry, Josh might be going after you, Ron, because that could have and maybe should have been a touchdown. Said Yarbo gets tackled at the, I think, 7-yard line. I thought that could have been bounced outside, maybe just playing smart, making sure that you're going to get any points you can out of this. And with 13 seconds left at the 7-yard line, no timeouts, this needs to be a pass if you want 3 for the field goal part of things. And uh, I'm a little bit surprised with the cadence to end there, but what does it matter? You're up 24-3 right now.
yeah, I think what we're gonna see here is probably an RPO from Josh, if I had to guess. I think he wants to complete a pass and make sure he does that, but who knows? I mean, he could run. I mean, up 24-3.
The rollout for Fields to the right. He has a little bit of a
Oh,
speed boost
wow.
movement, and that was an easy walk-in touchdown. 7 yards out. Justin Fields on the board. Miami Dolphins up now 31-3. 9 seconds left. Saints get the ball to start the second half, but I imagine Saints sent a GG probably 3 possessions ago because that's typically what he does. Might be a justified GG if you're sending it to Josh right now. I know that our previous announcer would say we're getting into nose wipe territory. I think it's fine to say it's the premature GG or the acceptable one. But Dolphins up 31-3 in the first half of the TBA Season 3 Super Bowl with 9 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Saints, you know, I don't know if you can get something in field goal range in 9 seconds. I mean, certainly you could, but you got to take your time. Too many interceptions in the first half. Uh, he's taking a deep shot here. I think he got
I
him.
think it might be there too. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
wow.
What a load up. Josh Allen has the vertical route open on a cover 4. Brian Thomas Jr. runs right by it, beats it. It just ends up being an overthrow. The lead there made it so there wouldn't be an interception, but the opportunity for Brian Thomas Jr. to get the touchdown catch also not there too. Saints sees the backed off defense, says, "Oh yeah, I got this run. We'll get some yardage out of that." Nope, tackled immediately, and that's how the first half ends. That would be what I would say. Yep, feels about right with a 31-3 first half outcome. If I was playing this game, it's a frustrating spot. Saints maybe trying to get more points on the board, some yardage here. I will not disparage no matter what the outcome ends up being. I just want to talk to people right now as we're watching this kickoff here to begin the second half. The run the Saints had to end the season will probably be an all-timer. I don't have like all the TBA season history been going on nearly a decade now. It's understandable from forgetting something, but I'm looking at the schedule right now. In week 11, you were seeing the Saints sitting, I think, at 6-4. Realistically, not going to be racing ahead of Juice for the NFC South division. And with the schedule upcoming, there was going to be no point where the Saints, I thought, had any shot to make the playoffs. Instead, wins against the Jets, Jags, Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles to start the playoffs as well too. That was 4 teams prior to the end of the regular season that the Saints need to win to get in, and then ends up beating the Eagles, Lions, who are the #1 seed. Juice, who's been a multi-time Super Bowl participant as well too in the stretch. It's been an incredible run for the Saints, and while it may end here in a loss in the Super Bowl, been incredibly impressed with how this offense has played and how the defense of the Saints has through the NFC as well too. You see
Yeah.
Josh Allen I'm sorry. We had 3rd and 1 here, Josh Allen. I love the pitch, the speed option outs on college football. Not always useful in Madden, but I have seen Xavier Rhodes, the Broncos quarterback, be very successful with that. But Ron, go ahead. Just the Saints run overall, if you wanted to comment on that too.
No, like you said, Joe, it's been a great run. The game's not over. This season's not over. I want to see a comeback. I'm not gonna lie here.
Mm,
Um, he's just got to take his time. He's got to dig deep. I think with Josh being someone that is aggressive, if he gets a stop or two, we can see a close one. So, you know, a great run, like you said, but let's hope that he can put something together here in the second half.
Good play. The Culp drag was open, but would have maybe been tackled before the first down. I love that little route that Saban ends up having, and then bringing the user receiver down to make the catch. We don't have a lot of man abilities that have knockouts like that you see in Mutt, thankfully, right now. And I think if you have a knockout man ability, that's a little bit different. But great use of that route. Great idea that they knew this man coverage was coming, and get a first down at the 50-yard line for the Saints. You're right. This is not over, especially if he scores a touchdown. You'll only be down 3 scores, plenty of time on the board. I get nervous when we're doing all these adjustments because I'm just pass committing if that's the case, right? Like it's going to be pass commit, and unfortunately, that was the same process Josh had. Gets the interception on the deep pass. A little sticky work for Mitchell as well too. He gets the 46-yard line, stops what would have maybe been an opportunity. There's a check down underneath, like you said, Ron. That Matt Gore maybe had a chance to get 15 yards. That'd been great. The check down was there. It's just hard when you're looking at down 28 points to try to be deliberate and slow and make every correct read. You want to make up that play right away. I get it entirely.
Yeah, I did notice, and maybe I guess Saints didn't see the corners were shading outside. I'm a little surprised he sent him on a deep out route, especially with pressure getting there all year or all game. But I think he might have had him on a streak if he just sent him straight. But like you said, I mean it's tough. You can't just check down 28. But I don't know if you saw Joe right when the second half started. I mean, Saints only 47 total yards. It's
Yeah.
going to be a climb. It's going to be a climb.
Gonna be a climb. That's a good way of putting it. You had Fields get shut down on the run. Great user play by Isaiah Simmons. Then you have the RPO to the right side, setting up a 3rd and 3. I would imagine this is gonna be kind of just concede. I don't think that's gonna be what happens. Hopefully, this game ends up getting played up. But again, 31-3 right now. Saints taking their lumps. Again, I just will go back and reiterate and reference that run that they have had. I think that one of the better ones that we've seen against multiple playoff teams. Commanders was a Super Bowl winner last year, wins 56-28 in a game that was of critical importance. Was only lost to Juice by 6 points in that one and beats the Cowboys 65-55. The point scoring total the Saints have had throughout the stretch has been incredible. So it just really is an homage or kudos to how great Josh's defense has been throughout this entire playoffs. I think throughout the entire season. Of course, that 16-1 record you watched. I thought the Ravens Dolphins game was one of the better ones that we had of the entire playoffs. Both people scoring tons of points, but that defense for the Dolphins in that game was really impactful and has certainly been that case here with I think what is it 3 or 4 interceptions? Do you remember?
I think it's Ford.
It's four
It's
now with that one.
four.
Yes, that's exactly it. 4 with a pick as well too. You have the adjustments to set. Maybe if it's going to be a short throw, back everyone up. Maybe you have them come back down. It's 3rd and 3. If we're playing by our rules, it would be a punt. Instead, it's a Kyle Pitts reception of 25 yards, 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line. And I guess it would have been, actually 28 yards. Kyle Pitts, if he's not the MVP of this game, maybe it's Alec Pierce as well with the 2 touchdowns, but Pitts has been a critical factor. We'll see his abilities regress come this next season, which I thought was surprising, but not really a big critical factor within the offense. Fields ends up trying to get a run on the outside, doesn't go nowhere. 2nd and 12, but time is ticking with 3 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, I think Pitts has kind of fallen to just being on a team with so many weapons. He's not going to
Yeah.
get those type of stats to retain, his abilities. I know the dev regression is something that hits hard for everybody in the league.
Yeah, and I'll mention this a few times because I think it's worth reiterating. Fields ends up scoring a 24-yard touchdown, a really nifty run. Well, he goes down to the 2-yard line, but nice little run by Fields on that play. He's at 25 yards rushing. I was impressed. I mean, like again, we talk about Devin Culp being a big factor as to what the Saints offense has been able to do despite getting rid of Lamarcus Matthews. If you are a team that needs a tight end, I'm not sure how many people are watching the broadcast right now or are doing other things now. Dolphins up 34-3 with 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. If you need a tight end, I don't think it'll be quite like the year one class, which had Harbaugh be the number one overall pick. We had Peter Jones, a multi-time now All-Pro player at tight end, be the 10th overall selection. This tight end class does look good. So if it's Juice, if it's somebody else, if it's Bears sitting with 3 first-round picks, I don't know, right? Because you can do anything we want here. The tight end position looking very, very attractive. If you've scouted that at all, Ron.
I have. I did notice that there are some good-looking tight ends out there. I am somebody that may not need a tight end, but I like what I see out there, and Kyle Pitts is a guy that if he ever hits free agency, I'm all over that.
Well, even if he's regressed, though, you're going to be
Yeah, I think
interested.
it's
Oh
just
goodness,
the
jeepers!
speed. Oh,
Matt Gore gets a 13-yard reception and says, "No, no, no, I get clocked. Here's a fumble. Great hit stick by I don't even know who it was, but Brian Branch comes up with the return. I'm sorry, the fumble recovery. That's how the game has went for the Saints. It feels like now again 5 turnovers in this game, down 34-3. Maybe it's more Fields running. You have Isaiah Simmons climb up. Fields gets to the left side. Ooh, little sticky. Gets another 25. There you go. If you have hit the 50 yards rushing, as long as Josh Allen and Fields don't kneel the ball or take loss in rushing yards, Fields has now taken you over the 50 yards rushing between the two quarterbacks. That would be a thank you to Josh because I think that was a deliberate choice that he was doing there. Kyle Pitts extends forward for a 5-year reception. So back to that. I mean, if Fields is to regret, I'm sorry, if Kyle Pitts regresses and is a star tight end, you're still fine acquiring him even over an attractive rookie crop here.
I think for the right price, I don't think he's going to lose his 90 to 91 speed. That's the key thing for me. But I've seen guys with 83 speed at tight end and just be just as productive. So I was a fan of Pitts. I had him last year. He was great for me. So maybe maybe I'd be okay with having him back on the Raiders once again.
Okay, well, you're
Um,
being selfish now, Ron. We don't want to hear what the Raiders need to do roster wise. This is for the entire league watching this right now. But Yarbaugh got stopped on a 2-yard run, ends up being a Terry McLaurin RPO touchdown for 17 yards. So Dolphins now at 42-3. Not trying to not to talk about touchdowns, but there are other things we can discuss as we have the airwaves right now with it seems to be a Super Bowl probably in wrap for season 3. Dolphins up 42-3. I don't know. Let's do the rundown on the props here because I doubt anyone who's playing is listening, but maybe the people who are watching right now have things on the line. Is there one that you are looking for, Ron, or is the one that we're kind of trying to prominently follow along for a bunch of people who have been participating in the game of the week section here for season 3 prop bets?
yeah, I mean, specifically my parlay. I am 2 out of 3 on my parlay, but the third one that I did choose is a Leo Carrington, BTJ, or CRISPR scores 2 touchdowns. Again, I am somebody who likes to take the highest payout, and I don't think any one of those guys has a touchdown all game. So let's hope that that one hits. We're still looking for that special teams touchdown. Again, that one pays out
Stop
15K
it.
if anyone picked that. But I think I might have been the only one. Uh,
Come
let's
on now.
let's
Come
see.
on now.
With the fourth quarter coming up, if somebody did pick a big one, the INT in the fourth quarter, that's always a good prop parlay one.
Ooh,
So
Matt
that
Gore
one
ends
is
up
there.
getting a 22-yard reception, Ron. So there you go. Reed or Matt Gore, do they get a 15-yard catch? That ends up being the case.
Correct, correct.
And my prop bet, my parlay, if we're going to be selfish now, that's what we're doing, has hit. There you go. So Matt Gore
Beautiful.
with the 15-plus yard catch. You had the Amaya sacks as well, too. An opportunity for Devin Cultivator touchdown.
Oh,
Oh, just an overthrow by Allen. Again, pressure coming up the middle. Good job not backing up and instead going to the side doesn't end up yielding anything. And there has just been pressure, at least if you're just going off the previous play art, all game. Unique kinds with the zone part, the man defense as well, too. It's just been a complete front of craziness from this Dolphins defense. And again, kudos how Josh has been playing because this has been an offense that was firing on all cylinders. The crossing work, an inadvertent pick had Culp open once again, looking a little bit deeper potentially on this reload PA flow, which has been a staple of a lot of really good offenses. The Colts in particular scored 2 touchdowns in their playoff loss against the Ravens with that exact play call. It has been added to my playbook as a result. That play ends up being a sack, but the cover one play, that was I love that one. If I'm gonna add one more, if we're gonna do the Yu-Gi-Oh! We're gonna steal a card after you beat somebody matchup, the reload PA pass, that has been one of my favorite ones to watch. The elite of TBA go ahead and do this. Now we enter the fourth quarter. Again, Dolphins up 41-3. I don't, yeah, I think we're okay for a lot of this stuff now. But again, Culp open on that inside route. That's a pick as well, too. Sauce Gardner, who's devved down, will end up scoring. Not quite, gets to the 43-yard line. That's turnover number 6 for the Dolphins in, I don't know. Can we call it a massacre? Is that too rude to say? I think Saints would probably acknowledge that as well, too. As the concede, I would imagine, is coming in
Yeah.
at this point. Trying to, at least, if that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought about this. Has Brian Thomas Jr. caught a pass for the Saints?
Yeah, he had the inside out was missed on, or the inside touchdown was missed. You had the deep throw that was just overthrown by BTJ as well too. Yeah, I don't think Brian Thomas Jr. has actually caught one.
Yeah, and I think what we're seeing here is now the backups in for the Dolphins. So looks like you got Jameis Winston, number 69 out there. Also, always a character within football. You got to see you got to love to see it. Jameis Winston going to be coming a Super Bowl champ here in a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Handing off to, don't call me Fidel Castro, Julian Castro, who ends up shrugging a guy off 21 yards. Big body running back, only 90 speed. You throw the all Madden guys on there, ends up being 93, 230 plus pounds of just pure. I don't want to make a racist joke. We're not going to do that. But Castro bounced to the right, looks to be a touchdown. He will end up running it in. I thought maybe he was going to go down for the field goal. 48-3 now with 4:51 left in the clock. And Castro on the board with his first touchdown of his rookie season. Well, his first touchdown from a postseason perspective, in a slobber knocker of a game for the Dolphins.
Has Dolphins Josh and the Dolphins just said F it, and is he willingly just taking suspensions at this point? Or
Well,
where
we've always, and I want to be careful with this. What your opponent might tell you to do is just, let's play this out, right? Like I don't want to go down embarrassing. Is it more embarrassing to me to have a guy score a bunch of points where I'm still trying, we're still playing, or are you just kneeling the ball, doing field goals, whatever else? There are some people, and there are a lot of people that are some of the best players in this league, like Saints is, that would maybe say something different. Devin Culp with a 65-yard touchdown. This feels a little bit like Chris Paul with the big 3 to go down 65 for the Suns, but nice play if that's the case. You're relying on any Devin Culp stuff as well too. 65-yard touchdown as the Saints now likely going for a 2-point conversion. But we have never said we're suspending people based off of Super Bowl performances. I think when you are the too elite and have gotten here, I'm letting them decide what they kind of want to do in that. So not that I'm ever saying break rules, like, go off sides or be whatever way you want to do. But I don't feel like a rushing touchdown is necessarily, with how good these players are, that I don't really think that should be what we do here in these scenarios.
I hear you. I hear you.
We'll have to see what Josh Allen does in this conversion. The inside slant was open. You maybe had the speed out to the left side open as well too. Instead, ends up being an interception. And with 4:44 left, Dolphins up 48-9. Yeah, I mean, like, what does 2 points make? But that would have been one of those routes, I think, in the way that Saints have been playing all year, would have definitely seen that if we're not at a spot where he's been playing this game for, has been a lot of credit. We did a lot of credit for the run for the Dolphins. I'm sorry, for the Saints here. I think we need to mention the insane improvement that Dolphins has made this year. There are very few people, Ron, who I feel like can not make the postseason the year before and say, I'm going to buckle down and be the level of performer that I think I can be, or player that I can be. And truthfully, Josh did that from the rip, right? Ends up getting critical wins throughout the year. Only one loss the season. That was towards the end of the year, as not that people had figured it out or figured out his offense, but were aware of what level of dominance Josh was playing at. But I think this is one of the more impressive runs. I have told him this in person. If you go ahead and look at his roster right now, I think Josh has put together one of the better teams, but not one of the best teams in TBA. So this win, this level of dominance, what he did to an AFC conference that I will admit is better right now. Maybe we'll have to see in 2 more seasons if that's the case. Just incredibly impressive to see somebody say, I'm going to be the best player at this game, and then just be that is a really refreshing thing to see just in life.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta love to see it more than I'd love to see his coach in those cutoff sleeves. But I think a little bit of some respect here with Josh. Easily could have scored. He's gonna go down to milk some clock here. But like you said, when someone commits to something, says he's gonna do it, and it actually happens, like you said, it's a good thing to see. It's a good thing to see.
Gets the touchdown on the run, no passing touchdowns, maybe is the thought process there. I think that's Yarbo who then ended up doing that. Number 5, I guess I'm not entirely positive. He scores a touchdown 54-9. We'll go for the field the extra point as well. 3 minutes left in this game. And again, it's just okay. I think it's refreshing to watch somebody just say, "I'm going to be actually good. I'm going to be really good at this game." And remember, there is periods of times 2 or 3 years ago, real life years, not within the Madden game, where this was what you expected from Too Bad Nerd. That you're going to have this level of dominance every single time, whether it be Marvel Rivals, whether it be far too many energy drinks. There are many reasons as to why you weren't going to play to this level, and now you've achieved that. Maybe the mute option is on here. We'll have to kind of see, yeah, but kind of changing things around a little bit for the Saints depth chart with 3 minutes left. Maybe a little bit too little, too late. Brian Thomas Jr. getting moved up to the spot. Maybe there is some. Let's hit this bet. Can you please go ahead and do this kinds of
Amen,
things?
brother. Amen.
That's, that's happening. I'm actually fine with that. If that is what we want to go ahead and have accomplished in a 55-9 game, I'm totally fine with that. I feel for a lot of people within this game itself, and a rightful Super Bowl winner for the Dolphins. The offseason is going to be very, very interesting. We talked about this with the Kyle Pitts regression, just kind of overall. BTJ that ends up being the reception. He gets 10 yards, almost 10 yards on that play. A little under 3 minutes left in this contest. I would imagine no timeouts are called, but again, whatever the competitors want to do. The draft looks really interesting. We've seen a lot of different teams make trades for top 10 picks or top 10-ish picks. A cornerback draft that's going to be heavy and really, really deep. So maybe teams trying to trade from their cornerback depth don't have as much leverage. I'm fascinated to watch what's going to happen and unfold in this offseason. As is your dog, it seems like. Yeah, maybe Ron's stepping aside to make sure that our four-legged friends are fed appropriately, and it certainly seems like the Dolphins with the four flippers have been fed this game. A nice little seam shot to Brian
Ooh.
Thomas Jr. goes incomplete. 2nd and 10 at the 47-yard line. Maybe one last gasp or a score to see what this does for the Saints offense. But yeah, I mean, is there anything that you're going to be looking forward to from an offseason perspective, not Ron, not for your team, but for the league itself?
There's a lot of after reviewing a lot of what people have draft wise, there's a couple of teams that were playoff teams this year, like Juice having the number one. I
Mm-hmm.
expect that to get moved. He's in a great spot to be right back where he is next year, with some pieces. So, you got Bears with multiple first rounders. We I expect some big moves in the off season, especially right before the draft. I think, especially with so many picks being available. I'm gonna be one of those guys. Hopefully, trying to get some picks. So hasn't really turned out
You've
much in
been
the
one of those
past,
guys
but
for every year. You've been really trying. BTJ with his touchdown. There you go. That's one of the three that you needed. You got a 32 yard reception on the play before. Again, Leo Carrington, BTJ, and Chris Burr. Chris Burr would be the other one that maybe you're hoping to see ends up scoring if you've been on that, as the Saints would theoretically be in a better position to pass for touchdowns. But 55-15, under 2 minutes left in this game that has been unfortunately long since over, really since the start of the second half. But again, no disrespect on that one. The speed out looks like it's open. The slant there as well too. Great little back shoulder throw, and it's 55-17. Maybe an onside kick coming with the idea that you could score
just
more points or maybe get that touchdown that you're looking for, Ron, in your prop bet. I'm kind of curious to see what will happen here with the Saints' perspective.
yeah. Just so we get some clarification for people that may have taken that one. Now, you did say not two total touchdowns from the group, so essentially BTJ will need to score another one on his own, if I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah, he could. Yep, you can. It's just two touchdowns from that group. But I think, well, isn't Chris Burr also a Saints receiver?
Correct.
Now, just doesn't really matter unless the Saints call timeouts as the Jameis Winston-led Dolphins trotting out in victory formation. There is Saints timeouts as part of this. More QB kneels, so Josh is going to say, you know what, you can go ahead and try to get that last touchdown for Chris Burr or BTJ with a minute 50 or so left. in this contest. I would not necessarily be a better man. I would say whoever try to bet on that parlay, you can just go ahead and lose. I'm going to try to get this first down, but 3 straight kneel downs, all timeouts gone. Saints will have one final possession to try to at least hit that mark. I think the bookies might have been in Saints' ear on this, Ron. Should I be checking your DMs as to see if people need to be, if you're messaging people during the game about what they need to do?
Am willingly
Your
going
your your
to.
it was already enough.
I will willingly show my messages to the entire league.
Oh,
Who
after you
kn-
delete everything, right?
yeah, who
Hey,
knows?
we're
I
recording
mean,
play.
who knows what? Maybe they're listening, and maybe they might have taken the same thing. What I'm gonna propose,
They
and
can't take the same thing. They were playing in this game.
look, the FBI might be investigating after my next thing I'm gonna say. I'm going a BTJ touchdown here, and then I'm
Oh
going a
yeah.
special teams touchdown from Josh right after on an onside kick fail.
Oh, I really
So
hope that doesn't happen because
I
that would be a little bit too on the nose in terms of what what you'd be expecting. BTJ open on
oh
the
wow,
crossing route. Josh Allen just misses it. That's one of those, if you're pass leading to the right, you want to make sure that you're not undercut by the DB and I think caused the sixth interception of this game. But there is the risk if you're trying to lead it to the right that it's not going to be there. Right idea, especially with the heavy man coverage. BTJ been a big staple on those crossing routes, probably because of the route tech. Was not open there. It looks like Josh sitting right on that. Josh Allen with the pressure would have been a great long pass to Burr there if he gets it off. Does not. And 3rd and 10 with 134, no timeouts for the Saints down 55-17. Final few plays, moments of this contest. Again, BTJ being a critical factor, wide open again on that. Instead, nope. You have the deep zone put in there. That's knocked down 4th and 10. The problem with this is that Josh is a human. Josh is a smart adult. He also knows what is trying to happen right now and who is trying to be targeted, whether it be BTJ or Chris Burr. So 4th and 10, we'll see if this ends up being the case. If you're following along, BTJ in that center slot spot. Again, open on the streak. The deep out is there, ends up being the underneath throw. He
wow,
does get the first down.
wow.
Great
He
little
snuck
play.
right in there.
But tick,
BTJ
tick,
was
tick,
there.
tick,
He was
tick.
there. I tell you that.
I think it gets swatted down again, just like the play before. But now you have it's at 7 seconds now and counting off the clock. The Saints no timeouts. Just flip the play, see if you can have the BTJ streak again. You have the comeback route, which has been one of my favorites. That should be there if he wants. Instead, takes the drag right into the zone. Thankfully, only ends up being a 7-yard reception and not an incompletion or worse. But time's still ticking right now in this trio offense for Josh Allen. The Saints down 55-17 here with under a minute left to play. I would hope that the real life Super Bowl in a week isn't quite like this. I don't think it necessarily will be, but I mean, the Seahawks are similarly talented and
Mm.
one of the better teams we've seen, much the same way that you would assume you could kind of characterize that for the Dolphins, too. By the way, that throw, a nice little 25-yard completion to Burr, puts Josh Allen over 300 yards. So we didn't say 300 and less than one pick. It was just Fields or Allen over 300 passing yards. Allen completes that. So there you go. Another prop bet on the board. Devin Culp open on a drag route. That's going to get another out of bounds. 40 seconds left at the 21-yard line. 55-17. This one's been done and dusted for a while, but you're still looking at that BTJ touchdown, right, Ron?
Fingers crossed, man. I'm hoping for it. I think a lot of people in the league are hoping for it. And then, like I said, we're going to hope for that special teams touchdown.
Yeah, the post was also there too, at least on that. But you take the underneath check down, get a little bit closer at the 12-yard line now, 2nd and 1, 35 seconds left in this game. Yeah, I mean, this is you would love to say if I could have played like this to start the first half, this would have been a different game. And I think Josh would say I would be playing defense differently if that was how it's going to be. Like it's a little bit of lets things off, have those underneath throws, kind of force a turnover, kind of force a sack that makes things a little bit different or interesting. Check down to the running back, not there, shut down. And the second one only gets inches, so 3rd and inches, and the clock is running. Probably another 5-6 seconds off the clock before he gets this playoff. Again, BTJ in the slot, open potentially, ends up being a slant. Burr falls down. Maybe could have been able to rack that into the end zone instead with 16 seconds left. That was an opportunity as well. 1st and goal at the 4-yard line, 12, 11, 10. Another slant there, and there it is. There it is, Ron. The Burr touchdown ends up being the double score that you need. BTJ and Burr to round out the Chris Paul big three down 65 play. Dolphins still at 55-23 in TBA season 3 Super Bowl.
I love it. I love it. That's a parlay hit, and my pocket loves it. The only thing I
Okay,
got to
okay.
do is I got to stop. I got to stop betting on the Raiders in the regular season. I think I've lost probably a total of 50K betting on the Raiders with the
I mean,
rest
if
of the
you bet
league.
them to lose, you would be doing pretty well, right? Or are the odds just so astronomical that it wouldn't have been a big deal anyway?
Yeah, the problem is I wouldn't get any action if I bet them to lose.
What do well, I mean, yeah, but you're at least making money because it's no way they're gonna actually win a football game anyhow. So there you go. The onside kick really important here for all but Ron. It feels like if the return for the special teams is there, this looks like it'll go. Ooh, that could actually very easily be a return touchdown. A big swapping there by that, I guess whoever that was from the Saints, and that is a run. The Dolphins. He calls timeout. I wonder if that meant to be QB Neal. There you go. 6 seconds and a dream left for the Saints down 55-24. That will be the conclusion of the season 3 Super Bowl. We'll have the game of the week stuff updated for you guys right there with all the prop bets out. We'll also have the schedule posted momentarily. Juice has been on top of things, updating that. And congratulations once more to the Dolphins. 55-24, 17-1 season. At AFC conference that I think has been far more difficult for most of this bad cycle. Josh emerged from being a non-playoff participant to being the dominant and potentially most dominant most dominant winner we have had in TBA history. Incredible run, incredible defense that you can have Jameis Winston doing the end of interview report says all you need to know about this win. And congratulations, Deuce. Again, one final shot. The run that the Saints had from week 11 onward throughout the entire postseason to get to this point, I thought was really incredible. Very excited to see what that Saints team does in season 4 and looking forward to watching more of you guys and your moves and plays and trying to be the next Josh in season 4 of TBA, which will be kicking off probably early next week. Thanks everyone for listening.